As a precaution, Bob Minton photographs Scientology members who picket his home in Boston's upscale neighborhood, Beacon Hill. As a warning to other Scientology critics, he posts these pictures on the internet. His opponents are relentless. They tracked him to his remote country home, where neighborhood mailboxes were stuffed with leaflets describing Minton as a fanatical religious bigot. And even on a short vacation to the Caribbean, he was trailed. More hateful literature was passed out to tourists on the beach.
Hello. Hi.
The fight is getting more personal, and Bob Minton carries with him signs of that battle. But he has what former Scientologists and other critics of the sect no longer have: a family that stands by him and ample funds to take on the wealthy Scientology organization. Bob Minton needs all the help he can get if he wants to continue his crusade despite the harassment he's facing.
These people are out to destroy anybody who gets in their way. And yes, I am part of a group of crusaders trying to stop that from happening.
Is there a real chance that you might lose all this because of Scientology?
Well, I think it's a risk worth taking. I don't, however, put the risk of losing everything as being extremely great, but definitely a risk worth taking.
And they're trying to sue you?
Well, they're trying to find reasons to sue me. They haven't succeeded in that yet because I think I've been fairly intelligent and honest and straightforward in my dealings against the Church of Scientology.
Bob Minton is still disturbed by an incident involving a mysterious cat.
Well, my wife came up here from Boston on December 15th and found a dead black and white cat on our doorstep right here in this spot. It was otherwise a healthy-looking cat.
Perhaps a coincidence. But leading Scientologists openly admit that they use private investigators against critics and journalists. One of their investigators recently showed up at the local police station asking questions about Bob Minton.
He said that they had been hired, his company had been hired by the Church of Scientology to investigate Mr. Minton's background and what connection he had with the Church of Scientology or why he was interested in them.
And were you aware of anything that made you suspicious of Bob Minton before?
Always seemed like a gentleman to me, and we've never had any problems with him in town, and I consider him a good citizen in Sandow.
Fort Myers, Florida, just a couple of hours by car from Clearwater. 57-year-old Hannah Whitfield lives here with her husband, Jerry. For 20 years, she belonged to the Church of Scientology, and for a long time was the right hand of the sect's founder, Ron Hubbard. But even that did not protect her from their disciplinary system.
Anyone at any level can be chopped, removed from position, demoted, put into what we now call a slave labor camp, the Rehabilitation Project Force.
Hannah Whitfield was captain of the ship on which Ron Hubbard cruised for years. At one time, she was responsible for the entire North American organization. Together with Hubbard's children, Quentin and Diana, she belonged to the inner circle of confidants. And Scientology's founder showed his appreciation. On her birthday, she received a personal letter from Ron Hubbard himself. Hannah Whitfield trusted Hubbard and believed blindly in his teachings.
Full of energy, always full of the great things that he could see come about in the future. And he had a magnetism about him. He drew people to him.
And it worked on you?
And it definitely worked on me.
Hannah Whitfield was 24 when she embraced Scientology. 2 decades later, she realized she had to leave the sect, but she didn't get very far.
I could not have run away. I was held by 2 big men and marched through the building to the area in the garage where the RPF had its office.
Hannah, what was the worst they made you do at the Fort Harrison Hotel?
I think probably running up and down the 12 flights of stairs in the Fort Harrison Hotel in the summer heat, in the Florida summer heat, carrying 5 pounds or more, 10 pounds of building material, lath and plaster in each bucket, having to run up those steps in boiler suits, in heavy boiler suits. I had a friend, a buddy, who was working with, we had to clear each other to get through the RPF, Lynn Froyland. She would not give up her misdeeds to me. She was assigned to the RPF's RPF, which was in the basement, in the boiler room. She was chained to pipes for, I really cannot remember how long.
That's in the Fort Harrison Hotel?
In the Fort Harrison Hotel. I went down there several times pleading with her, Lynn, you can't stay down here. You know, if you stay down here and I can't get you to tell me your misdeeds, I'm going to be put down here, and I don't want to be put down here.
Hannah Whitfield considered suicide, but then she succeeded in breaking away.
The Scientologists have ever felt that they would silence me by harassing myself and my husband and my family to the extent they have. They are completely mistaken. I will never, never give that away. I will never sell my right to speak.
Hannah Whitfield and the other Scientology dropouts hope that Bob Minton continues to spearhead their fight.
How much longer are you willing to keep this fight up, Mr. Minton?
Well, I'm prepared for a fairly long fight, both in terms of financial commitment and personal commitments to it. I believe it's important that people understand what is the nature of a totalitarian organization like the Church of Scientology.
So you're not ready to give up?
I'm not. I'm not.
And if need be, Bob Minton will continue in his crusade against Scientology, all by himself.